All right, so we had three wonderful presentations, and we have two more that are going to now take some of the technical and policy-based ideas and see how they actually translate into new developments and remodels and even certain things that as individuals who already are in a setting, whether it be single family or multifamily, what can be done with respect to water on existing parcels as well. All right, so our next speaker is Mariam Mojdehi. Mariam is a founding partner at MAAM, a Los Angeles-based woman-owned architectural business. She received her Bachelor of Science from the Georgia Institute of Technology and her Master of Architecture from Columbia University. Along with her partner Meredith McDaniel, their work has focused on sustainable building systems with a particular interest in net positive energy and water solutions. Mariam is an active member of the AIA-LA Committee on the Environment and the U.S. Green Building Council LA chapter. She also serves on the board of California Greenworks. Their firm, MAAM, prides itself on a blending of climate-based solutions with art, literature, and design to conceptualize projects and create resilient works that are highly responsive to both people and places. Mariam's going to share with us today a series of case studies that highlight the power of water to tackle many social and resource management issues and drive positive change. Please join me in welcoming Mariam Mojdehi.
All right. Hello, everyone can hear me okay? Yes, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. A little bit closer, okay. So today we have 5 projects to share. The first 2 are both Living Building Challenge certified, and they show us how we can capture, clean, and reduce water. The third project shows us how water can inspire, and then the 4th and 5th show us how water can nourish. So the first project is Watershed Building in Seattle. It is a 7-story, 60,000 square foot office building. Both this project and Santa Monica City Hall are certified from the Living Future Institute. LBC certification is a rigorous, deep green building standard that asks the question, what if buildings can make the world a better place? Similar to LEED, it's a tiered level of certification, so there's PETAL certification as well as full living building certification, which the Santa Monica project does. So the Watershed Building is PETAL certified. So what that means with regards to water is that the building needs to achieve a 75% reduction in potable water usage and capture 50% of the stormwater on site. The building is located below the Aurora Bridge and means that the building reaches past its property lines through a series of bioretention planters that organically filter stormwater before it reaches Lake Union. And these planters, they're kind of a magic because what they do is they neutralize the lethal effects of all the stormwater before it enters the lake, saving all of the native salmon that live in the lake. So this is a diagram of water mitigation and reclamation showing the bridge runoff as well as deck runoff from the building entering these bioswales before entering the lake. This diagram also shows some of the water strategies in the cistern as well as some other sustainable building systems like beehives and operable windows and highly efficient mechanical systems. And here we see a photo of the overhanging roof that captures all the rainwater and then brings it down through a series of sort of sculptural gutters that then go into the cistern and then is used for non-potable uses. So this, along with highly efficient fixtures, have reduced the water demand by 88%, which is, again, better than the 75% required for the certification. And then closer to home, we're looking at Santa Monica City Hall East. So that's outlined in red. It's a 50,000 square foot, 3-story addition to the historic Santa Monica City Hall. It is fully living building certified. So that means that with regards to water, 100% of the water project's needs to be addressed on site. So it's all through rainwater capture and infiltration, as well as no potable water can be used for non-potable uses, and all gray and black water must be managed on site. So this rigorous standards really pushed us to become the first in California to be permitted to convert rainwater to potable, and also the first building of its scale in California with composting toilets. So this sort of shows you our pathway to get to net zero water. I think you really see composting toilets and rainwater capture as being really integral in that story. And then these two graphs, this is sort of the before. So you see on the y-axis the available water, so site stormwater, rainwater, and gray water. And then on the x-axis, the demand of toilets, showers, irrigation. And then once we take the toilets sort of out of the equation, we start to get to net positive water. So for this project, the composting toilets are really like the unsung heroes of the project. So here, if you ever have a chance to go to the building, definitely go to the bathroom. The toilets are really fun, and they all stack vertically into these composters in the basement of the building. And this is filled with worms, other organic matter, that's turned over and eventually goes into an autoclave, which then deems it Class A compost, so you could use that for gardening. So I think these two projects, they sort of show us how challenging ideas of what infrastructure means, as well as what buildings can do, might be not just bad, but actually do good. This is the last slide for the project, which again is just showing some of the other building systems and how they start to work holistically. So for example, we have PV on the roof of the building, as well as throughout the site on these sort of shade canopies. So of course they're providing energy for the building, but they're also NSF certified. So they are capturing the rainwater that then goes into a below grade 40,000 gallon cistern, goes into the water treatment room, and then becomes potable water for the building. All right, so now zooming to a different scale, going to Singapore, we're looking at a building that kind of starts to think about water as poetry, as a phenomenon, as an icon. So this is the Jewel Changi building in Singapore. It is 1.4 million square feet. It combines the programs of an airport transit hub with retail, with a botanical garden, and its centerpiece is this rain vortex. It is the largest indoor waterfall in the world, 130 feet, so like 7 stories. Great for Instagram, and sort of plan and section, really demonstrating how the architecture and the landscape are intertwined. So you can't really imagine one without the other. So the way this works, it's recirculating rainwater. It's pumped to the roof and then free falls through this hole into a reflecting pool in the basement. And the ebb and flow of the waterfall kind of goes to a trickle, and then at its greatest, it's about 10,000 gallons per minute. This also aids in the cooling of the landscape environment and collects the rainwater again to be reused both in and around the building. Here's a detail of the facade. So there are structural features built into the facade as a network of pipes and fins that then collectively gather the rainwater into this sort of oculus and then distributes it perfectly into that circle. And then this is a $1.2 billion structure. It really demonstrates, again, that sort of poetry and like universal quality of water that we all are attracted to, right? And it's, again, collecting 50% of the storm water runoff for irrigation, toilet flushing, and then the water is cooled enough that it can then feed into the central plant to lower the ambient temperature of the building. And then the last two projects kind of address water as nourishment and sustaining us. So Vertical Harvest, they have locations in Wyoming and then soon Maine and Michigan coming online. So this is in Jackson, Wyoming. It's a 30 by 150-foot square lot next to a parking garage. It's the first vertical greenhouse in the Northern Hemisphere. And they've been in operation, I think, 6 or 7 years. And they supply grocery stores, restaurants, and 3 states, producing food 365 days a year, despite the growing season about 4 months in Wyoming. And they replace 100,000 pounds of produce that were formerly trucked into the community. So this business model really challenges the notions of land use and sort of what a farm is and what farmers look like, right? Half of their workforce is hired with disabilities, so that's sort of another win. And they're expanding their model nationally into other food deserts with similar short growing seasons. So near Portland, Maine, this is a 52,000 square foot facility that's set to open any day now, I think. And it's slated to produce 2 million pounds of produce annually, providing food to schools, hospitals, and markets. And also in Detroit, this is really bad quality, 60,000 square feet and also about 2 million pounds of produce. And you know, these projects really highlight like that most of the produce that we consume in grocery stores, it was harvested in a different country, in a different state. It's coming to us on a refrigerated truck, and it's usually like weeks after it was picked, so the nutrient quality and the taste is a little bit diminished. But by picking something and then 24 hours later you're eating it, it's a win-win, and it's creating year-round food production, local jobs, and reducing the carbon footprint of our food. And with our growing population, concentrating in urban areas, I think vertical farming is a really growing and exciting model. Last project, sort of similar themes, but a smaller scale and closer to home, is the Degnan Micro Farm. This is one of 3 micro farms that are part of Crop Swap LA. Crop Swap LA is an agricultural institution whose mission is to grow nutrient-rich food in unused spaces like front yards. This one is a single-family lot, 150 by 50, and the story of the garden is in the backyard. So they collect about 5,000 gallons in this below-grade reservoir, and then above grade, excuse me, they built a recirculating waterfall that's filled with plants and lettuces and pavers, permeable gravel that also collects rainwater from the property's garage from the house. And then in the front yard, you see the terraponic system at work. So the whole farm, both this one and the other 2, they all use recycled water and are solar powered. So here we see these sort of cinder block reservoirs with then perpendicular to that, the terraponic system. So terraponics is like aquaponics, but with soil. So you're getting the biology of soil and then the nutrients of the water together. I think you have more plants that you can grow with this system than aquaponic. And it's, I think, a little bit easier for less experienced farmers to grow with. And then in between each of the trails, you see there's usually a cover on it, but here you can see the irrigation system as well as how they supplement with different plant-based fertilizers so that then they can calibrate the nutrition to the plant, both like specific to what's being grown as well as where it is in its growing cycle. And then this is sort of that same system with now the vertical trellis. So below that's about 780 gallons of water that's being recycled, and it's always being tested just to make sure that it's appropriate. And then also making more use of the vertical space in the front yard, they have this whole system which is reused rain gutters. So it's about 8 feet tall. I think there's 30 runs of it. And this is where, right before harvest, we see lettuces, kale, eggplants all growing. And this farm is producing food to feed 45 families, all within a 1-mile radius of the home. These are some metrics just comparing the project, the farm, to conventional agriculture, to urban agriculture, as well as comparing it, the water needs between the microfarm and a conventional lawn. So it's kind of big, night and day. And here, again, some photos of every Sunday they distribute like a CSA box, and they also supplement it with fruit trees or fruits from neighboring trees. And the delivery, again, 1-mile radius. So it's kind of amazing. And here's some information if you want to contact Crop Swap. I think all their farms have waiting lists right now. And yeah, thank you. So yeah, these 5 projects, they kind of hopefully get us thinking about what we need our built environment to do, what our infrastructure, what our communities are capable of, and what we're looking at in the next 5 years and the next 10, 50 years with our environment. So thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. It was great to see the range of scales from, a front yard all the way to a international airport and everything in between. But, it points out that if water becomes more central and is part of the driver of development, that it can go hand in hand to make something exceedingly successful. And yes, I think you said it was $1.2 billion for that airport space, but something tells me economically that environment will attract, great economic value over time. And it's just really powerful to see that water is beyond sustenance. It can really create special places for people. So thank you for sharing that.